Hello. Greetings, my beautiful people. I'm Cozy Cottage here. How is everyone? Guess what? We are on the last 3 chapters of the Little Woman. Woman. We're on the last 3 chapters, guys, and we're gonna finish it up right now. I hope everyone is doing well. It is Sunday night, actually. Had a good day in service and watched Zoom. And after I finish this video, I'm gonna look back on one of our temples in Portsmouth, Virginia, dedicated their new temple, and I'm gonna watch that on YouTube. So it's been a good day, and I'm gonna finish it out with rest of the good day, good night, with a good night. All right, but we going to get started. Oh, hold on a second. Give me a second. Okay, I'm back. We are on our last 3 chapters. We're gonna finish this up right now. We are on chapter 32. My Lord and Lady. You ready? Lloyd said to his wife, Mrs. Lawrence, that man intends to marry our Joe. I hope so. Don't you, dear? Amy was smiling. Shall you care if Joe does marry Mr. Bear? I assure you, I can dance at Joe's wedding with a heart as light as my heels. Do you doubt it, my darling? Amy looked up at him, and she was very satisfied. I wish we could do something for that capital O professor. Couldn't we invent a rich relation who shall die in Germany and leave him a tidy fortune? Said Laura. Joe would find us out and spoil it all. She is very proud of him, just as he is, and said yesterday that she thought poverty was a beautiful thing. Chapter 32, a quick one, huh? Chapter 33, Joe's World. Daisy and Demi were now almost 4 years old, and they were well on the way to being very spoiled by everyone. They were bright and happy, and they got along very well together. Daisy was Demi's slave and made friends with everyone, while Demi defended his sister from everybody else but ruled over her all the time. Give me a second. Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry for the interruptions. Okay, where were we? They were talking about Daisy and Demi's. Okay, I'm going to read this over. Daisy was Demi's slave and made friends with everyone, while Demi defended his sister from everybody else who ruled over her all the time. Aunt Dodo, as Joe was called, was chief playmate and confidant of both children. And the trio turned the little house topsy-turvy. Aunt Amy was still only a name to them, and Aunt Beth faded into memory. But when Mr. Bear came, Joe forgot her little friends. Demi soon found that Dodo liked to play with the bear man better than she did him. But he didn't mind that much since his rival kept chocolate drops in his pocket. Daisy used his shoulder as her throne and looked for the gifts he always brought them. Mr. Bear was very correct. He always talked to Mr. March, but Demi soon let the secret out. Do great boys like great girls, Fesser? He called her Fesser, not Professor, Fesser. Mr. Bear couldn't tell a lie, so replied that they did sometimes. And that made Mr. March look at his daughter and think hard. Joe and Mr. Bear were spending more time together, going for long walks and talking. And after they were done, Joe asked him home for coffee. As Friedrich, I mean, Mr. Bear, doesn't like tea. By the second week, everyone knew perfectly well what was going on, but they never asked Joe about it. They all waited for her to speak to them, even Laurie, who was dying to tease his friend. When the professor was absent for 3 days, Joe became quiet, disgusted, I dare say, and gone home as suddenly as he came. It's nothing to me, but I should think he would have come and bid us goodbye like a gentleman, she said to herself. Still rather annoyed, she went out for a walk and to do some shopping. And when it started raining, she found that a blue umbrella was being held over her head. She looked up and saw Mr. Bear looking down. In a minute, she found herself walking arm in arm with her professor, feeling as if the world was all right again. We thought you had gone, said Joe hastily. Did you believe that I should go with no farewell to those who have been so kind to me? He asked. Mr. Bear could read many languages, but he had not learned to read women yet. But he saw a small tear on Joe's cheek. Suddenly, stooping down, he asked, Heart's dearest, why do you cry? Because you are going away. Joe, I have nothing but much love to give you. I came to see if you could care for it. And I waited to be sure that I was something more than a friend. Am I? Can you make a little place in your heart for old Fritz? He added, all in one breath. Oh, yes, said Joe, and looked up at him with an expression that plainly showed how happy she would be to walk through life beside him. Passerby probably thought them a pair of harmless lunatics, for they forgot to hail a bus and strode along. The professor looked as if he had conquered a beautiful kingdom, and Joe felt as if her place had always been here. Chapter 34. Harvest Time. For a year, Joe and her professor worked and waited, hoped, and loved, met occasionally, and wrote long letters to each other. In the second year, Aunt March died suddenly, and she left her big house to Joe. Oh, wow. Joe and Professor Bear decided that they would live there, and Joe said to Laurie, I want to open a school for little lads, a good, happy, home-like school, with me to take care of them and Fritz to teach them. This isn't a new idea of mine. Before my Fritz came, I used to think how when I make my fortune and no one needed me at home, I hire a big house and pick up some poor, forlorn little lads who hadn't any mothers and take care of them. I told my plan to Fritz, and he said it was just what he would like and agreed to try it when we got rich. Plumfield is just the place for boys. The house is big and the furniture strong and plain. There's plenty of room and splendid grounds outside. Laurie asked, but how you intend to support the place? Of course, I shall have rich pupils also. Then when I got a start, I can take in a ragamuffin or two. Things seemed to happen very fast, almost before she knew where she was. Joe found herself married and settled at Plumfield. Then a family of 6 or 7 boys sprung up and flourished, poor boys as well as rich, all helped out by the clever Mr. Lawrence. Joe made queer mistakes, but the wise professor always sorted things out. It wasn't a fashionable school, but it was just what Joe intended it to be, a happy, home-like place for boys who needed teaching, care, and kindness. And Joe was a very happy woman there, with her family, her boys, her papa, Bear, and her own two sons, Rob, named for Grandpa, and Teddy, a happy-go-lucky baby. Seeing her happy family, Mrs. March stretched her arms as if to gather her children to herself and wished her girls a happiness that would last forever. That's it. That's it. You guys hung in there with me and read the entire book of Little Women. And this book is by Louisa May Alcott. And it's also been made into a movie that was on PBS. I'm not sure if they're going to run it again. I'm sure they will. But you might can find it on YouTube or Google it and see if it's playing on anything. Prime Video or something. I don't know. But very good book. Very good movie. You will love it. And thank you guys so much for hanging in there with me and reading these short chapters of Little Woman. I got this book from not Home Goods. Not Home Goods, but oh my goodness. What is that store? It's done. I think I told you guys from the beginning when I bought the book where I got this book from. But anyway, I will put a text up above this video, the name of where I got it from. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna end this video for tonight. Thank you. Maybe down the road I'll read another book, a short book, short chapters, or whatever it may be. And I hope you guys enjoyed this, and hope you enjoy the next ones to come. I love you guys. As always, never give up. God can deliver you from anything if it's His will. Hold on to God. Never let Him go. Put Him first in your life and seek after Him. Hold on. Don't let go. It's a tough world out here, but with God, I tell you, it's just so much easier. I love you guys.